Welcome to the final build day. Okay, so here's the deal. We got to add a little bit of nose weight, and that's going to come in the form of the dummy radial. And then we've got to do some programming, which means I've got to learn something because it's a little bit different. We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's finish the construction. Let's go ahead and put on the dummy radial and double check our center of gravity, see if we need to add any more nose weight, and then we'll move on to programming from there. All right, let's get started. All right, before we get started, I wanted to show that I did paint the battery hatch and that the color is slightly different. And I'm okay with that. I really am. I think it's going to be all right. And the discoloration from sun fading and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. Why? I'll just blame it on that. Also of note is this morning I went ahead and used my trusty Dremel tool to remove all of these holes from the dummy radial. Put a coat of spray paint on it, let it cure in the sun for about an hour. And while I did that, I took each one of these individual aluminum tubes and put them in my drill and spun them up with some of my polishing compound and just helped brighten them up because the aluminum had dulled quite a bit. And then drilled holes down here and up here and put them in, and my fingers hurt. I left the holes pretty tight because I want to make sure that they stay nice and secure. Also, I'll make sure that they have a little bit of CA on them on the back. But yeah, that's how you do a dummy cal from dummy radial from Great Plains. It's really nice that they provide those aluminum tubes, and the weight should be enough. It's going to be all the way forward that should be able to not have to add any additional weight. But we'll see. We'll make sure of that once we check the center of gravity again. It looks easy, but it's not. The screws were not cooperating in the back, so I did as best I can. I mean, I'm using the 5-minute epoxy, which gives me some working time because it's relatively cold in my basement. But still, you want to try to get it positioned as early as possible so that it can set. I've got it positioned now, and the motor is spinning freely, very freely, not binding on anything. It's nice and centered as well. So we're going to let that cure out, and now we're going to move on to something a little bit different and something very much new to my channel. All right, so down inside here we have my standard FrSky X8R receiver. Have absolutely no issues with this receiver, and it works great. I used an X8R on the P47, which showed next to no interference from the aluminum. But we do have an additional space up here, and we're going to put there is that. Now, what is that? For those who don't know, this is the Aura 8 from Flex Innovations, and it's a flight stabilizer. Where did I get this? Well, right there. Right there. I had originally purchased this my first year at CEF, and I tried to get the Bugatti to fly. Bugatti is a very hairy airplane, and with all of the warnings that I've gotten from all of you, as well as the warnings in the manual, I felt it would be prudent to try to set this up inside the Bee. So that's what I'm going to work on now. I'm going to position it in. I've already done some preliminary programming and some research on this. So I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put the servos in and power it up and see what's going on and report back and see what's what. So I've got it in, yeah, it's in position, got everything plugged in, just temporarily. I'll clean up the wires since there's no excuse not to in such a big fuselage. I mean, has my whole hand inside here. And the controls are working, but they're reversed, so I've got to look into that. I know there's a setup thing to do. So I might have to reach a wire in there and hook this up to my laptop, because I'm not doing this through my radio with a bind plug. That's just obnoxious. Anyway, be right back. Alright, you're gonna have to pardon the beeping. My YEP speed controller is not liking that I have only 3 cells hooked up, but that's okay. For now, what I had to do was go in and program my transmitter so that channel 5, forget the Bearcat. I copied the Bearcat to make this. So channel 5 had to be set on a switch that I wanted, just any switch, and I set it to SB. So my rates are normally here on SA, so it seemed natural to do that. And any sort of rates that I have, I can control through the Aura software. So as it is right now, I can have a little bit of rate adjustment there, but really what you want is rate adjustment through the Aura. So I'll probably take out any rates that I have, just take them out, which is simple enough, just to delete those additional lines under here and just set everything to 100%. And that way, through here on the flight modes, yeah, so here you can check the rates. So I've got 3 flight modes on the switch, and the first one is gyro off and low rates, and then low gain gyro low rates, and then high gain gyro high rate. So I'm really only getting dual rates, which is fine. So I'll set up the high rate the high rate for what my throws are going to be, and from there I can set my low rates, and then I need to figure out the gains. So now I'm gonna go do that. Alright, so I tidied things up a bit in here. These are my aileron servo leads. Doesn't really matter where those go, but everything is nicely tidy in here, and I'm very pleased. Shouldn't have anything really rattling around other than that, which is nice. So I got on the phone with Flex Innovations, and they ran through things for me because I'm a complete noob when it comes to these things. They gave me some pointers, and they gave me some advice on like the direction that the control surfaces are supposed to go when you put it, when you move the airplane in a certain way. I don't know. I think I know, but I don't know. Again, I've never done this before. So with that said, I believe I'm done. Yeah, radial looks good. And got the prop back on, and did a whole bunch of programming in my radio to sort of take programming out, because the Aura 8 will also do your dual rates, and it'll also do your expo. So I just did all of the control throws programmed in there with the laptop. Made it nice and easy. Other than that, it's time to bust out the Windex and a rag and clean the airplane and put on some decals. Well, there's not a whole lot left. In fact, there's nothing left. We're all done. Got all the decals on. Got the airplane all cleaned up. Double check the CG again. I guess triple check or quadruple check. I've lost count. That's how many times you need to check your center of gravity. Made sure that the radio is programmed. I'm glad to bring you guys along for the ride on this build. It was a fun journey for me. You know, I don't know exactly when I'm going to maiden this thing. I'm definitely going to clean up the shop. Goodness. Those who know me personally know I'm very fastidious and like to keep things very clean. So we're going to run the vacuum, certainly, and take out the garbage can. Moving on, you know, If you have enjoyed this, I really would appreciate, again, if you give me a thumbs up, and if you feel like you'd like to subscribe and learn some more and follow along with another build, please do so. I do have another fun build coming up right after this that I'll be diving into tomorrow. Not sure exactly when I'll be posting videos on it, but it's a fun one. It's there's some sentiment behind it, and we'll get there. We'll get there. But in the meantime, the GB is now a flying work of art, and I'm not going to show her again until she's at the field ready to fly. And that's just how I go. You know, if you want to see the finished product, you got to wait for the maiden flight, and that video will have all of those fun glamour shots, if you will. So stay tuned. We're going to make plenty more flying works of art, and thanks again so much for stopping by the workshop.